Greetings, beautiful viewers. This is Smitten. Welcome to How to Fail at Smite, my original Smite series where I pick up a new god for the first time and poke fun at how I play so that both of us can learn from my mistakes. Episode 16, Athena. Finally, Athena has arrived to the battleground. At last, a female tank! She'll show you where the kitchen is. As always on patch day, I am joined by a team of my very own beautiful viewers to join in on the festivities. For this game, my lane partner is Arachne, who spends most of her time jungling, leaving me to fend off the opposing Athena and Apollo. Speaking of my jungler, Arachne waits in the jungle to attempt the early game gank when Apollo catches sight of her and moves in to dissuade her. I follow suit with my taunt ready. Rather than focusing on the person who actually does damage, I taunt Athena and promptly dash straight into the wall. I'm upset that I'm taking so much damage and hesitate to follow Arachne up the lane, but seeing how committed she is to this gank, I move in to assist. The spider latches onto Athena, who drags my lane mate towards Apollo in panic, but by the time that Arachne starts to retreat, she's slain before my very eyes. I turn down the jungle lane, frantically running towards my tower. If I had acted before Apollo had noticed Arachne, the engagement would have occurred next to our tower and most likely in our favor. Quick decision making is key. Safely under my tower, I consider backing, but I'm concerned that the pair might tower dive me. When all of a sudden, vomit! Zuzzy didn't bother calling missing and a wild Baka appears going in for the dive. Regurgitated minions leading the way! I can only dance around the tower, avoiding my opponents for so long before the inevitable catches up to me. Chapter 1. To Overstay. Once I'm up, I return to my lane to clear up a couple of waves of minions and see that Zuzzy is going head to head with Baka and taking a lot of damage. I run through half of the jungle before I remember that my ult gets me there quicker and protects my target. I crouch down for the build-up, all the while Zuzzy's health is ticking away and shoot up into the air and land in front of Apollo. I place shield wall and taunt the fleeing Apollo back towards the ring. Arachne comes flying in and one-shots the pretty boy. Bakasur is quick to ult and takes out the spider in 3 shots before taking down Zuzzy as well. I retreat back to my tower as Hercules arrives to help. You're probably thinking this would be a good time to get back to base to heal up a little, but I wasn't. Nope, I stay at the tower. I move in to engage Bakasur with the shield wall taunt combo and Baka picks up another kill on me. Chapter 2, L2 combo. I return to defend my left tower from Apollo and Athena. They out-level me, but I am reassured by my mantra, I'm a tank, I'm a tank, I'm a tank. With no assistance by my team in sight, I have to come up with a plan, and all of my 8 minutes of experience playing Athena is telling me to taunt them into tower range. The taunt pulls them in just barely out of tower range, and they take advantage of my poor positioning and get a few free shots off on me. Even though I see Apollo start his ult, it does nothing to scare me into running away. I'm a tank, I got this. Here is a potential bug. As I was in the middle of charging up my dash, Apollo fails to mesmerize me even though I was clearly in range. I'm not sure if that effect is intentional, but it saved my life. I pause the call missing and move forward and start to recall, but when I see that Zuzzy is moving in on the injured Athena, I quickly chase after them. It's risky considering I only have about 100 hit points left, but with her lane mate gone, Athena is overextended and vulnerable. As I round the corner, Zuzzy's spirit arrow locks her into place, but dashes away once free. There's no way I'm letting her slip through my fingers. I dash after her and launch a taunt, but Zuzzy's ult picks up the kill. Feeling satisfied that I didn't have to do any work for the assist, I can finally recall. Chapter 3. Worst support in A. Here you get the pleasure of joining me as Arachne rushes around like a stubby chicken with its head cut off, peeling off into the jungle with Apollo hot on her heels. I react much more quickly this time and give chase, taunting him away from Arachne before laying down my shield wall and escorting him back into the lane with preemptive strike. I turn to see the opposing Athena use the hand of the gods on my archers and decide it's time to fall back. As I reach the middle of the lane, Arachne emerges from the jungle and I consider pulling back even further while she rushes headlong into danger. As the opposing shield wall goes off, our minions go flying, leaving us rather exposed, but that won't stop us. I charge up my dash and let her rip. Finding myself in the center of a cluster of opponents, I pop shield wall and promptly miss with my taunt. Arachne advances undaunted, pulling Apollo, and instead of casting my ult on her, mitigating her damage, and landing just in time to secure the kill and save her, I slowly meander up the path and engage at my leisure, arriving just in time to block Arachne's escape path. Chapter 4. The cost of not paying attention. Attack middle lane! Or so we thought. We find a Bakasur pursuing our Hercules at our rear. Turning to face him, I land my taunt, which makes the little bugger roam around harmlessly in his pool of vomit for a second, before he proceeds to maul Hercules, who only managed to connect once with his boulder. With a quick leap, he gains some fast cash, munching poor Hercules to death before making his escape into the jungle. Apollo moved down the lane behind us, and I do my best to ward him off before deciding that having no mana means I can't really go toe-to-toe with him and retreat towards my tower. Upon arrival, I finally notice that something is amiss in the jungle and turn just in time to watch Zuzzy get devoured as well. However, I remain unconvinced of my uselessness in my current state and decide I'll try to take on my pair of opponents. I find that Arachne is coming in to save the day and taunt Bakasur, hoping to force him to land a hit on me to get the tower focused on the right target. While there have been plans that were both worse conceived and executed, mine fails disastrously. Leaving me confused and without a next step, I decide to charge the glowing Bakasura before the opposing Athena joins the fight and Arachne gets slain under the tower. At this point, I decide that 3 bodies are enough for the day and head back home. Chapter 5. I help! Emerging into middle lane, I learned my lesson from earlier about walking to assist a teammate when I can just ult to him. I fire it up and land behind the level 20 Baka, who easily chomps down her level 14 Arachne, leaving me to square off against him and Zeus. As I try to dash past Baka, he body blocks me in, and trapped between minions in a hard place, Baka picks up the double kill. Chapter 6. I'm so useless! We return a few minutes later to find Baka soloing our left Phoenix. I waste no time in charging at preemptive strike and dash towards his escape route. I lay down shield wall a little too far back, and when I'm about to use taunt, my slight backpedaling makes me miss. I do a 180 in my pursuit as Herc drives Baka towards the left lane. Baka takes the opportunity to use Hand of the Gods on my archers. As I charge up my dash, and just as it's ready to go, Arachne pulls him out of my path. My whole team is there to greet him as Zuzzy picks up the kill. Feeling a little useless, I try to cheer up by complimenting myself at how well I'm hitting the enemy minions. Yeah, take that! Chapter 7. I just want to talk! Emerging from the fountain, I see that my team is engaging in right lane, clear across the map. I squat down for the build-up and land next to Ao, just in time for the other Athena to drop in on Zeus. I see her turning towards the retreating Herc and use my taunt to keep her from the fight. Ao and I move in on the nearly dead Zeus. I drop shield wall and miss him with my single ranged attack. As he turns to head into tower range, I use my dash to close the gap and miss the ranged spear again. I follow and try to auto-attack him down, but realize I'm taking damage from a tower, a minion wave, and 2 gods and start to retreat. Only momentarily distracted by the opposing Athena's taunt, I rush down the lane. She follows me with her preemptive strike, but I get away with minor injuries using my own dash. Hee, thought you had me, suckers. Safely tucked behind the shrubbery on my side of the map, I recall back to base. Chapter 8. Taunting 101. We return to middle lane as my team and I chase down Fenrir, who is making his way towards our right lane. Zuzzy stuns him as I power up my charge. Just as I hit him, Arachne gets the kill. I turn my attention towards Baka, who is assaulting our newly respawned Phoenix, and move in. Again, I place my shield wall poorly, but do manage to hit Baka with my taunt, who awkwardly and repeatedly runs into the pillar. Arachne doesn't waste any time and picks him off. 5 minutes into the future, all of our Phoenixes are down and I spot Baka running into our base. I do everything I can to deter him from killing the Minotaur, but his ult proved to be enough to win the game. Good game to my allies and a good game and well played to our opponents, whose superior communication and coordination led them to a snowballed victory. Thankfully, my allies are the cheery type who refrain from being salty and join me in a round of good games. Personally, I really like Athena. Her mobility and crowd control are amazing and a lot of fun. The taunt has to be one of my favorite abilities in the game. It has so many uses. In this game, I never really mastered a good ability combo because I didn't read up on her before playing her, but I had a few good laughs at my attempts to find one during the game. I've only played 1 real game with her so far and look forward to experimenting more with her. And now for the juicy bits. As far as Athena's abilities go, there are 2 ways I prefer to build her. The first is a more tank/support focused prioritization. The second is damage. Athena's passive is Reach. After using an ability, her next basic attack becomes a ranged attack that pierces any enemy it hits and deals standard damage plus 50% of her magical power. You should really try to get this off as often as possible instead of instantly chaining your abilities, as it will greatly boost your damage output. Athena's first ability is Preemptive Strike. This is a line dash with a ramp-up time that pierces through minions and will stop at the first god she connects with. It deals 80 to 280 magical damage scaled by 50% of your magical power, and applies a 25% slow that lasts for 1.25 seconds to 2.25 seconds. If it connects with an enemy minion, god, or jungle camp, it applies a block and stacks up to 3 times. This absorbs 1 basic attack from an enemy god for each stack you have. Due to the slow, don't use this dash to connect with the opposing god if you plan on pulling them anywhere with her next ability. The second ability is Confound, which carries an 18-second cooldown and taunts enemy gods to make them pursue Athena for 1 to 2 seconds. Again, don't use this in combination with Preemptive Strike as they won't be following very far due to the slow. This ability does not trigger the slowing effects from Gem of Isolation. Her third ability is Shield Wall. She summons up 6 ghostly warriors directly beneath her feet. The first strike instantly deals 40 to 180 magical damage that is scaled by 50% of her magical power. And 2 seconds later, a second strike deals 80 to 360 magical damage, also scaled by 50% of her magical power. This ability is excellent at clearing out waves, buff camps, or putting some serious hurt on enemy gods. Due to the ramp-up time, cast this first, then Confound. While Confound is pulling, begin charging Preemptive Strike once you've got them into the Ring of Warriors to get the slow on them before they can get away. Her ultimate ability, Defender of Olympus, is like Neith's ultimate in reverse. She selects an allied god on the battlefield, charges for 4.2 seconds before blinking to them. While the blink is charging, the targeted god has incoming damage reduced by 50%, and any enemy god within 20 feet of the target takes 350 to 950 magical damage scaled by 100% of Athena's magical power. This is an amazing tool for stopping ganks in their tracks, or assisting a gank, or getting to an objective quickly, or pretty much anything at all. For prioritization, it really depends on if you're wanting to be a tank or damage. For tanking, throw points into shield wall first and max it second. It will really help with clearing early buff camps. Alternatively, you can put your first point into preemptive strike if you won't be body blocking the camps to build shield stacks while in the jungle. If you went with shield wall first, your second point goes into preemptive strike, which is maxed last. Your third point goes into confound and maxed first to more efficiently set up kills for your carry. Throw a point into your ultimate whenever it's up if you have good team communication or can land the damage. If not, throw a point in at level 5 and level it after the other abilities are completed, though leveling it first when it's available is preferred. If you want to go for damage, level your shield wall first and max it first. Preemptive strike gets the second point and max second. Confound still gets the third point, but is now max last. The priority of your ultimate is exactly the same. If you're confident you can land the damage, level it. If not, put it off until the end. As for item builds, if you're going to be a tank, here's the build for you. Start off with Mark of the Vanguard, followed up by Reinforced Boots. Once that's complete, grab Breastplate of Valor for the cooldown reduction, 75 physical protection, and the additional mana. If you find yourself up against a heavy magical damage lane, pick up Void Stone for the magical protection's additional magical power and penetration. If you can get away without the additional magical protections, then get Gem of Isolation, which is preferred and core for both builds. Once Gem of Isolation is complete, buy Void Stone if you haven't already. Next on your list is Bulwark of Hope for additional health, magical protections, and that juicy shield. You'll finish your build off by selling off Mark of the Vanguard for Hide Anemia Line, and your tank build is complete. If you're going for damage, pick up Mark of the Vanguard and Boots of the Magi, followed up by either Void Stone if you're against heavy magical damage and need mitigation, or preferably Gem of Isolation, which is core to her build. After that, pick up Chronos Pendant for the cooldown reduction, and then get either Void Stone if you don't have it and need protections, or Obsidian Chart otherwise. When that's complete, pick up Polynomicon. The ranged attack after Athena uses an ability benefits from Polynomicon on each enemy it strikes, so if you hit a line of enemies, each one will take the bonus damage from Polynomicon. It can be terrifying. With Polynomicon finished, sell off Mark of the Vanguard to find Rada Tahuti, and your damage build is complete. And so concludes the guide on Athena. If we tickled your fancy, make sure to rate and subscribe for upcoming videos. You can also come hang out with us on Facebook and Twitter. And don't forget to follow us on Twitch to see us streaming live. Links in the description. Feel free to leave your suggestions on how to play this god, as well as any feedback you have for us in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. I'm Smitten, and I'll see you next time.
Good game. Bye.